Hi guys, and welcome back to the vlog. Boy, we've been banging them out. Now, today, this video is going to be about the trial. Holy crap. Now the pressure's on. Now, I got him indicted. I cooperated with the DA's, the prosecutor's office, got the case, and now all our work over 4 years is about to be put to the test. And I'm up. I'm up. And now I'm feeling the pressure of what Dennis Callow has been feeling for the past 4 years, especially now, but he's in court. And although he didn't look nervous, I knew he was. I knew the weight of bringing little Harold's case to fruition and justice. That piece of shit. So we have what's called pre-trial, pre-witness, pre-trial, whatever the fuck they called it. He and I would sit down. This is like week before, and he would have the questions, and he would basically put on his what he was going to ask me and how I was going to answer it. And I don't want to use the word rehearsed, but we went over the question so I would know it and what he's going to do. And of course, the first thing he did was he was going to bring up my past, my prison stay, my convictions. And then he was going to bring up my cooperation with law enforcement and how every target I went after was arrested, indicted, and convicted. They all copped out except for one, maybe or two. So we go through all of that. Now that testified, and now bang, now the roles are reversed. Beth is in Dennis Callow's office in case they needed her for any reason. She was there. And now I get up. Now, Dennis warned me about the judge. And you guys can Google and figure out who he was. But he was a no-nonsense. He was an Italian. I know D something his name was. But he was the chief superior court justice of Bergen County. Or maybe the state, I don't know. He was the big dog, no-nonsense, smart judge that gets things done. And you don't want to piss him off. And everybody knew me, and they knew that I have a big mouth. I don't shut up, and I got the fucking Irish temper, and I'm already pissed off, having been assaulted by the crime scene photographs. It was an assault. It was like somebody was choking me when I was looking at those photographs. I was assaulted. And when an Irishman gets assaulted, well, we assault back. We don't back down. We don't give a fuck how many they are. We just go forward. So he's trying to intimidate me. I don't know what Dennis was trying to do. He was trying to intimidate me that this judge, no bullshit, don't go fucking around, just obey what he says. Fuck yeah, I didn't do that. And I think I like 4 times. All right, so listen to what happened. So now, and I got this technique. I've made up this technique about testifying at a trial. This was my first trial testimony. And all of them except 1 or 2 took it to trial in the future, but this was my first trial. It's very easy to go before a grand jury and swear to tell the truth, and the DA asks you questions in front of 24 people, and it's one-sided. There's no defense attorney in there to challenge anything that you said on cross. So, you know, all that shit's very easy. I say whatever I want, and then they either indict you or they don't. And they always indicted you. So he's telling me about this judge. You know, don't piss him off. Just answer my questions. fine. I had no problem answering the prosecution's questions because I was a prosecution witness. So we get into the court. I'm sitting down. I'm facing the door where you come in the audience. The jury box, which consisted of 14 people, 12 jurors, and 2 alternates, are to my left. Dennis is to my left-ish side. That's the prosecution team. And then the lawyer, the defense lawyer, was to my right. And as I sat down in the witness booth, because that's booth, it's, this building was probably built in the 20s. The judge's desk was up here, right? Like above me, and the judge was parallel to me. But he was up. He was up in the friggin' air. And Brian Molese was sitting to his lawyer's left. And when I sat back, I couldn't see him. So first thing I did was move my seat up. I'm trying to get the seat up, and it really didn't move. So I had to put my ass on the edge of the chair and get up so I could see that prick. I wanted him to see me. Because don't forget, I was assaulted by them friggin' bitches. And I'm like, the murder just happened. And I was at the crime scene. When you see those pictures, my fucking mind told me I'm looking at dead bodies and stuff. So I was very, very, very much affected by what I saw the day before. And I just wanted to kill him. They would have gave me a minute just to choke the fucking life out of him if he looks into my eyes. That's what I wanted to do to him. Slow choke him to death. I'd have mercy on my soul now. Fuck him. So the questioning begins, and it always starts with the prosecutor, and it always ends with the prosecutor. They get the last word in their, I forget what they call, final summation, or they get the last word. So the jury, when the case is over, the last things, it's called charging the jury. Charging the jury. The judge does it, the prosecutor does it, and the defense does it. The last chance you have to convince the jury of your argument, of your to see it this way. And so Dennis starts off. Hi, Mr. Moore, is your name, blah, 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 blah. And you know why we're here, right? And I said, yes, we're prosecuting Brian Molese is on trial. He goes, okay, do you see Mr. Molese in court today? And if so, could you tell the court what he's wearing? Could you describe him? That's what he said. He said, could you describe him and tell the court what he's wearing? He said, describe, right? So he was out of my view. So I had to basically almost get off, lean over. And I said, yes, he's sitting right next to his attorney. And today, the baby killer is wearing a blue suit. Objection, you're right. Fucking that's what he is. And then the judge, so then it says, oh, so now they go to a sidebar for that. Now, don't forget, the jury people, they heard that. The baby killer is right there. The baby killer, I called it. I didn't even see what the judge's face was. But, I mean, fucking seconds after the trial, my testimony started. I fucked that up. Fucking, I went, and there he is. Oh, and then another thing I did. Okay, so you point him out. So I go, yeah, he's right there. He's right there, and I make my, he's right there. The baby kills fucking, I make it like a gun. Fucking prick is right there, and I point my finger like a gun. Your Honor, mistrial. And so they have a sidebar, And they go up there, okay, okay. So the judge said, strike that, strike that, and to the jury. Now, this is the funny thing about the our jury system. He could say yes, strike that to the stenographer, which, by the way, she watched the show, this my channel, and she commented, "Hey, I was the stenographer on that case here, and I tried to interview her, but she never responded back." I said, "Let me interview," but she actually watched the Brian Willie's videos from 3 years ago. So now, he tells the stenographer to erase what I just said. And then he goes to the jury and he says, "I want you to disregard what Mr. Moore said. Disregard it." And of course, they heard it. There's no disregarding anything that I say. So I quickly learned that, and then he said, "And Mr. Moore, none of those theatrics, none of those theatrics, just answer the questions." This tough judge, Italian judge, oh shit, he scared me. My fucking head. I was just so mad after being assaulted. My eyes were assaulted by what I saw in the book. So that was right off the bat. And then I learned this cool technique that defense attorneys, or at least that one, didn't like. So he's asking me questions. Yes or no? Yes or no, Mr. Moore? And he was like, he was like beating me up. My record came out, and isn't it true? And he's beating me up, and I'm just getting pissed off. I'm not on fucking trial. Your bitch ass baby killer is on trial, not me. Never mind what I said. If you believe, I was just that pissed me off, and it was designed to. And I was trained by Dennis Callow and all the cops that that's what they're gonna do. Right out of the gate, they're gonna attack me. They're gonna, I'm sitting here. I have nothing to gain here other than by doing what any human being should do. And you can't, if you have information about someone that slaughtered a baby and you don't come forward. I'm not talking about being an informant, and you don't come forward and let that bitch lead his life like nothing ever happened, then you're worse than he is. You'll be worse than he is. So I'm getting beat up, and I wanted to punch that fuck in the face. I wanted to punch him in the face. And then a lot of questions, he was like, yes or no, like fucking in my face with his fucking finger. Yes or no. So then he would walk as closely to me. He stood, he wasn't at his desk. He liked to ask his questions with his pad and fucking come get as close as he could to me. But there was a table there. And so the questioning goes on. I'm getting pissed off. And then he started this yes and no shit. And then I caught a couple of the jurors on the end. I think those were the alternate on the end. And then I noticed that they were all on the edge of their chairs listening to when I spoke. They were like, what? I mean, they were like, really? So then I'm listening to him. So I devised a technique that I think every witness on trial should do when answering an attorney's, no matter defense or prosecution, answering attorney. You're there not to convince the defense attorney or to convince the fucking defense attorney, the prosecutor or defense attorney. You're not there to do that. In fact, you're not even there to convince the judge, because this is not a trial by judge. This is a trial by jury. And they're the only one that matters. And this started to come to me like a God, like turn your body. And so when I caught the couple of them on the end, and I said, hey, they're listening to me. I started every question that he posed from that point over, I would lean into the defense attorney and then answer to the jury. And I went from left top to right, from left bottom to right. And I made, and then that fucker didn't like that. So I would go, yeah. And I would go, yeah. And this, that, and the other. And I would make sure I made eye contact with every single juror on that. There's an earthquake. You know? Two of this makes it piss me off. And that they didn't like it. So then he's able to come and he tries to block me. He came over in front of the jury and he tried to block me. And as I'm answering him, I'm going like this. And one time I stood up to go around him. The judge said, sit down, stop it. It's no theatrics here. Okay, so I sit down and I started making eye contact with all those jurors. Is what I did because I knew how important it was at that point that this case all hangs on my testimony. It's me, and you know when you're trying to convince somebody that you're telling the truth, the last thing you want to do is not to make eye contact. You don't want to do that. You want to look them in the eye. And when I started doing that, before he tried to cock block me over there, before I did, he was watching the jurors go. There was one woman that was, I mean, you know, these are just regular people. Most of them were like middle-aged, like in their 40s and stuff. They were older jurors. And women were like, fuck, I'm getting headway. Fuck him, the judge, fuck everybody. I focused on the jury. And then he couldn't block me then, right? And because it was obvious what he was trying to do. He was trying to keep me from making eye contact to the 12 people that are important. That's what he tried to do, this guy. And so then he started asking me yes or no. And there were questions. It escapes me, but there were important questions that you really can't answer yes or no to. If I did, I would look like a liar. It was yes or no, yes or no. And he says, yes or no? Yeah, this one. I said, no. And this is why. Oh, objection. And I just kept fucking going. I could talk pretty fast without this. I was like a fucking auctioneer. You know, no. And the judge says, listen, I'm not going to tell you again. He tells me, the tough judge that's going to put everybody in that fucking guy there, tough judge, the top dog judge at Bergen County, New Jersey. He goes, first he goes, oh, don't do that no more. Don't do that. Okay, I'm sorry, Your Honor. It's very emotional. I knew these people. So I told him. And so then he moves, the lawyer moves from his table. So now I'm no longer looking at him to my left and over there. Now he's standing right in between me and the jurors. He's got his thing. And he goes, again, Mr. Marr, again, yes or no, again, yes or no. He answers the question. And I go, well, I really can't answer that. Answer the question. The judge goes, answer the question. Okay, yes, but this, and I go again. Hey, stop. I just fucking didn't even listen to that guy. I just went, and he said, listen, I'm not going to tell you again. I'm not going to tell you again. If you do that again, I'll hold you, I'll jail you, I'll put you in jail and contempt of court. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Honor. Goes again. So what do you think I did? So now, hey, Judge, I've been in jail before. What's for lunch? So I go, and he asked me again, yes or no, only. And I go, no, and this is why he's trying to. Judge again. I told you if you do that again, I'm going to hit you. Okay, sorry. So I lost count, but I think it was 4 times that that judge said, that if I did that again, he would abolish me or some shit like that, some legal word. He would hold me in contempt. And don't forget, this is the no-nonsense judge. I made the judge look like, well, this is what the real story is. It was all theatrics for him. He loved everything that I was doing because he saw the autopsy photographs. The jury did too. And I didn't have the balls to look at that book. I didn't want to look at that book. So he knew. So, but he kept saying, if you do that one more time, and I did it 3 more times. So that was my interaction with the jury. The baby killer's right over there. So I think the 4th time I didn't listen to the lawyer was they had a sidebar. They had a sidebar. The judge is like, judge was totally on my side. It's the one time that when you go to court, and I wasn't the defendant in this time, but to have the judge there, he's saying one thing and doing another. He didn't put me in jail. And Dennis was like, and then Dennis, so then I was there 1.5 days or 2 days. And I could tell, even though my locking eyes on each one of those 14 jurors was seconds. I would go to this one, this one. I felt them. I felt them. I felt that they believed every word I said. And why wouldn't I? Every word was true. Subsequently, they believed me and found him guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to 30 years to life to run wild, as we call it, consecutive. I always get those 2 things. In other words, you'd have to do 130 years before he's eligible for parole. And so he just essentially got a death sentence. Life in jail without the possibility of parole. And he went off. Now, at this time, he had contracted the virus that causes AIDS. He had HIV at this time. And at this time, it was pretty new. This is 1983. And so anyway, and then eventually he contracted full-blown AIDS. And he was in Trenton State Penitentiary in Trenton, New Jersey. And he was transferred. He had a colostomy bag. He looked like, they sent me a picture. Somebody sent me a picture. Somebody sent the picture to Frank Preti of him. He looked like a fucking skeleton. He was in bed, all fucked up. He looked like a damn skeleton. And he had a colostomy bag attached to him. And he suffered a horrific death, which was warranted. And then after he died, of course, we all know he's burning in hell for all eternity. Killing children. So I just thought you guys would get a kick out of that story. So that's the end of the story, right? That's the end of it. He died before, he did manage to get an appeal. I think it was based on probably the shit that I did. He was able to get an appeal, but by that time he was so gone. He died. He died in 1990. He died. So he only did, I think they locked him up in 82. So he only did 8 years. And I believe most of the last 2 of the 8 years, they took him to a hospital and he died in a hospital. So I guess that's the end of the story, right? Everybody's happy he's in prison. Bada bing, bada boom, gone. We'll know. And I'm here to tell you that the most interesting part of this story that didn't make the newspapers, there was never a documentary like on Dateline or of this case, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I contacted Lamont at large. This guy does these type of videos. He has yet to respond to me. I wanted to go to the grave sites of Alice and Marsha and Harold. I wanted to go there and see where they're buried. Now, little side note, Brian Molese's brother was a mortician in Long Island. So I know Brian is somewhere out there in Long Island. I don't know where the father and the grandfather, where he decided to bury his daughter and grandson. But he was the biggest piece of shit of all. I think he was the biggest piece of shit of all. And we're going to get to what the grandfather did. Will absolutely, now let me also back up. You killed my daughter and her 5-year-old baby. I'll blow your, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. I'm not trying to blow my horn. I'm not trying to say how tough I am, but I would fucking kill you. In that courtroom, in that courthouse, at that time, there were no metal detectors. You could have carried a fucking shotgun in there if it was wintertime and under your coat. You could be armed in there. And when I did the story about the bench, I could have easily had a fucking gun and do what that guy did. There was a guy in, I think it was Oklahoma or Texas, someplace. Somebody, this mutt raped his 8-year-old son and got caught. And then they extradited the guy from out of state. And he waited in the airport. He was on the phone. And as soon as the two Texas Rangers or whatever the fuck they were walked by, he had a hat on. He came out and he put one right in the back of that fucking guy's head and got 5 years of probation. That's what he got. So that guy, Marsha's father at that time was in his late 70s, maybe even 80. Who gives a fuck? Then I'm already so old. Who gives a fuck? He could have killed him. I think the trial lasted like 10 or 12 days. He could have easily sat in the bench that I moved to the fucking, and when I came back the next day, my bench was still in front of the elevator. Imagine that. Oh shit, it's him. So he could have easily have whacked that prick, but he didn't. And in the next video, I'm going to go in great detail. What he did will blow your mind. Please like and subscribe, or I'll cry. I'll contemplate suicide. Maybe I could appeal to some of these people that way. Because what the fuck? You're watching the video, you're not pushing the button. You could get alerts when you push the button. They tell you when the next thing is on. Push the button, or I'll commit suicide. How about that one? See you on the next one.